Hello everybody, welcome to today's stream. Today is going to be a very chill stream. I got my markers and we're just going to kind of like color and doodle and chat. We're mostly going to chat about Earth Day, so because it is Earth Day. Happy Earth Day everybody. I love today. I like Earth Day. It's a good day. Before we get started, if you are interested in any of my previous streams or like seeing other bullet journaling content or me making spreads, you can head over to my YouTube channel, which is linked in the bio. In my bio to kind of watch all my previous streams. And then if you are interested in like daily bullet journaling, bookstagram, whatever, yeah, it's all on my Instagram, also linked in my bio below. And then next Saturday at 2 p.m. our stream will be like a little recipe book that I'm working on and like putting the recipes in there and making it look cute. So that's that. So let's get into today's activities. We're gonna do just kind of like coloring and stuff. I have a Stellar notebook. I drew this on here. It was very fun. But I kind of just use this notebook as like, it's got art stuff on it. I just do it for funsies. Playing around. So we're going to do that today. Starting with this page. The markers I have today are the Azure dual tip. Like one chiseled, one fine. Not fine, but like normal marker tip. And I have those. I got these at Walmart if you're interested in them. And then I also have this little guy which has some washi tape just in case like I feel the need to like section off areas or something. But yeah, we're just gonna vibe, hang out, and have a good time. We're gonna just do that. There you go. Okay. Do I have a plan for what I'm drawing? Not really. But we're gonna go for it. I'm kind of in the mood for a jar. And then put drawing stuff in the jar. So we're going to start with that. Hopefully this looks cute. It's going to be a big jar. It's going to have a pretty normal shape. Okay. Yeah. Just going to take this guy and make a quirk. We have a jar, even though it doesn't really look like a jar. It is what it is. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna just do whatever feels right. And I'm still deciding what that is. But yeah. We're gonna chat a lot about Earth Day. Just gonna preface that in advance. It is an Earth Day type of stream. So, I'm mostly just gonna chat about ways that okay, preface, I am not like the most eco-friendly person on the planet. You can probably tell that by the fact that I have a stationery obsession, which means I use up a lot of paper and a lot of art supplies and plastics. So I'm not like the best. I don't know all. But I have some ideas and I have some ways that I try to be a bit more eco-friendly in my time. And I'm here to share those today. So, yeah. So I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about stationery, ways that I like with my stationery, how I try to be eco-friendly, or ways you can. I will also probably chat about like ways you can just do it at home and in general. So if you want some good eco-friendly ideas to help your environment in the little way that you can without like feeling you need to commit 100%, like you do not need to give up buying this or that to like commit 100, like you don't need to commit completely into helping the environment. It's good that you have the environment in mind with what you're doing in order to help it a bit more. It is great to think about the environment whenever possible. I hope I made sense. Anyway, let's get right into it. Okay. The first thing I really want to chat about is I did this for mostly from like October to December was when this is something that I did a lot, and it was becoming very like mindful about what you're buying for your home. And what I mean by that is like when you are shopping for holiday decor or just general house decor for any season, figure out what you want as that decor, like for decor, before you go and buy it, and have a place for it. So when I was shopping for Halloween stuff, I was like, I want a tablecloth because I don't usually have those, and I want to see how that fits in my house. I wanted a sign for my door that was like Halloween themed because I like having stuff hanging on my door, and I have a little hook there, so I have a place for it already. I have a couple spots in my house, kind of on my bookcase, or like on my kitchen table, or on my dresser, where I can put cute little knickknacks or statues of sorts. So I was like, okay, I want to. So I have those spaces, and I'm like, okay, how many knickknacks do I already have, and do I need more? I think I did not get any more of those little knickknacks. But I was also like, okay, sometimes I put up Halloween lights, so do I need any more of those? No. I like a pillow and a blanket on my couch that kind of like matches the theme. So I was like, okay, I need some Halloween stuff there. So I made my list of what I needed for Halloween, or what decorations I wanted to look for, so that when I was Halloween decoration shopping, I wasn't like, oh, this is cute, I want to buy it. Oh, I want this. Oh, I want this. I knew what I had in mind. I had a set list that I was going to follow, and I could still buy cute Halloween stuff without buying unnecessary items for my home. And what this did for me is it kind of gave why this is important is because it's kind of like the first step you can take towards being a little bit more eco-friendly and eco-conscious, because you are being more mindful about your shopping habits and what you're buying and where you're kind of putting your money and what stuff you're getting for your home. Because I think like the biggest issue, one thing that I've noticed on Instagram and on TikTok, is that there's a very specific type of influencer now, where if you become an influencer with like your niche, that's the word, niche, you have to become a maximalist in that niche. For example, I love watching Mojo Jojo Plans. She's on Instagram, she's on YouTube. She is so cute. And she has every single Happy Planner sticker book that ever existed. She also has like almost every planner. She has hundreds of planners she doesn't use. She has hundreds of those little discs that come with the planners. And it's like, I'm all for her. You do you. I won't stop you. But there's that, and then you also got like the bookstagrammers where you can't, like, it's almost like you can't be a bookstagrammer unless you have bookshelves upon bookshelves of books. And so it's this very maximalist idea of like, you cannot be in this niche or like bullet journaling, book, like reading, etc., unless you have thousands upon thousands of this. And there's nothing wrong with being a maximalist. I'm like, you can do you. If you have the money and you want to buy all that stuff, go for it. But the issue comes when they go and get all this stuff, but then it doesn't get used or just gets thrown away. So like, I don't think I've seen an influencer do this directly, but like where they like just toss away their excess. I've seen a lot of them, they're willing to like give it away, sell it, whatever. But like Instagram has done this thing where it's like you need to have a lot of this or that, especially like during holidays or decorating. So that's why I think like the easiest step you can take is like when you are shopping or buying stuff, you're a bit more mindful about how much you're getting and how much you are actually going to use, and if it has a place in your home and that type of thing. I think that's very important. Because I kind of I fall into that. I posted a washi tape reel this week. I have a lot of washi tape. I'm trying to make sure I use it, but I'm also trying to be like, okay, if I am going to buy my own stationery, I need to buy stationery with its purpose in mind. So there's some stationery items that I have been getting that I try to make sure are I know what theme they could be used for. Like there's some that I'm like, okay, this is cute, I like their art, I'll find a use for this. But other stationery items, I'm like, okay, I want to make sure there's a use for this, that I'll actually use it. I have a theme idea, I have a spread idea when I buy this, or like if I'm buying markers, I'm buying the markers that I know I like and that I'll use. And like, there's always, you'll get gifts of things, but like, I think it's very important to make sure that you have an intention when you are shopping for whatever you want to shop for. Mostly like stuff that is harder to get rid of. Like home decor is very hard to get rid of, in the sense that like if I go to the farmer's market and I buy apples, I can eat all the apples and there's not a lot of waste from it. But if I buy a bunch of home decor, but then I don't use it and I just kind of toss it, like that's a lot of waste. And then it is also, speaking of buying all this stuff, if you have already bought all this stuff and you're like, now what? I have too much, or I want to get rid of this and I just don't want it in my home. I think it's important to find the ways in your community and nearby that you can get rid of it in a better way than just throwing it in the trash. For example, I think the best idea, that's the word I'm looking for, best idea that I've kind of seen is if you go on Facebook and you type buy nothing group and then like your city that you live in, there will likely be one. So I'm in my city's buy nothing group, and essentially what this means is that people will post stuff that they are getting rid of and like the reason for getting rid of it and that type of thing, but like they're not asking you to pay for it. It's just kind of like you go pick it up, and they kind of use this term like gifting. So they will, what they'll do is notebook, not a sketchbook. Yeah, I am using a notebook today, because why not? It'll still be fun. But yeah, I think making sure to kind of like find your buy nothing group, they kind of use the term gifting. So someone will post, hey, I'm gifting, let's say, a couple books, and then you just kind of like comment saying like, I would love to be considered, and people will they'll kind of like probably DM you and just be like, okay, come pick it up here at this time and whatever. And I think that's like such a good idea because one, it's a great way to like get rid of stuff you're not going to use while also like giving back to your community and being like, okay, let me just hand that out to you and like give to people who may need it. I've seen people on the Buy Nothing group offer up like boxes of food they won't be using, or if they're moving out and they just need to get rid of stuff, they'll put it on there. And then I've also seen people who are like, hey, I'm struggling this week and I don't have enough money for this, so does anybody have it for me? Or I've seen other people offer like, hey, I have a Costco membership, I'll buy what you want there, you just pay me back and I'll just bring it to you. Like, they'll go and do grocery service for people. And I think that's like top tier. Because one, it's a great way to connect with your community and you're being eco-friendly. And that type of thing. So, and then of course, if you're like, you don't really want to interact with people with the Buy Nothing group, I think another good thing is like go to your local, find the local thrift stores and like see how you can donate to them, whether or not you're making money back and that type of thing, and just kind of see like, okay, I can get rid of this stuff and bring it there without like having to really interact with people. And then another one is like, there's also some online thrift stores or online shopping popping up. There's obviously Facebook Marketplace, so if you want to get rid of stuff, you can like sell it on there. But then there's like other ones. I like using Pango Books. It is an online book thrift store, kind of like Thrift Books or Wonder Book. But then I can just post the books that I want to sell or get rid of, and then when people want them, Pango like gives me the little thing to print out and just slap on my package, and we're good. And I really like that because then it's like I can put those on there, but I can also buy books. Like I bought a lot of textbooks there for cheap because I was an English major and I always had to buy a lot of books. But that was a great way that I was able to like save a bit of money there. And then, but yeah, just kind of like finding the places like you can get rid of stuff or like sell it instead of just throwing the stuff that you don't need in the trash, that like household items and stuff, or even food. There's a lot of food banks you could also donate to if you have like some food on your shelf that you're just like, I'm not gonna eat that anymore. Which I think is totally fine. Like if you're like, oh, I bought this thinking like I liked it. I know my husband at one point he bought, what was it? It was the Cheetos mac and cheese, and he found it disgusting, so we put it on our like Buy Nothing group and it was like gone immediately. Or there's another time, if I accidentally bought cream of corn instead of just like canned corn. Really frustrated about that, but then I just took the cream of corn, and my apartment has this thing where like if you put food in this like one corner, like we all know that it's free to take, so we did that. We've also grabbed food from there, like we got a bunch of free applesauce like that way, so that was really nice. And it's a great way to like kind of get to know my neighbors and stuff. But yeah, those are the easy ways to like kind of get started, be a little eco-friendly, becoming more conscious about like what you're buying, where it's gonna go, and then like how you're getting rid of it and that type of thing. But then there's like some more nitty-gritty details that you can do when it comes to like being eco-friendly. If you do live in an area where it's easier to walk places, do it, because you're kind of, one, you're saving yourself on gas if you have a car. Excuse me. And then you're also kind of like, I think the term is like carbon footprint. Once again, I'm like not the best expert, but I'm giving the ideas that I have. But yeah. Just kind of like walking places if they're closer, so you don't have to like waste your gas or like kind of put some pollution into the air by using your car and stuff. If you like have the money to like kind of get the hybrid cars or like the electric ones, that's great. But I know not everybody does, so like walking is a good alternative, or biking if you have like the ability to do so. And then one thing that I especially do to be a bit more eco-friendly is I drink a lot of soda, and I have some friends who drink a lot of soda as well. And so, to kind of help out the environment, I collect and keep all the cans that I get from drinking soda, and then my friend always gives me hers. I know my local soda shop does that as well. Like, they'll like save some cans, and this little kid will collect it, and then I will go to my recycling center that's like 30 minutes away, and I bring them there, and they will recycle them for me, and then I get like, depending on the weight of the amount of cans I bring in, I like can get coins back. So that's another thing you can do. I really like it because, you know, I get a little bit of change back. That's really nice, because then I just use it to buy more soda, but that's me. But it's a great way to kind of like just take a little bit down from like the amount that's like ending up in the trash and that type of thing. And one thing is, I live in a very small apartment, so it's kind of hard to hold on to a lot of cans. So I have our storage unit to do it. I have a place in my house to like put all the cans, and then like sometimes I'll just store it in our car. And then like every once in a while, we'll take a trip, because it's kind of 30 minutes away, so it's not something I want to do on a weekly basis. But I'll save a lot of cans, and then we'll take a trip to go drop it off. And it's really nice. It's it's a little reward whenever I bring them in, because you get the like little bit of change back. And then I know like some places in some states will also let you like bring in bottles you've collected as well. And I know you can like I've looked on my local recycling center's website at some of the other stuff they take as well. There is like, okay, there's like one major downside to some of these things, is that like if you are like putting stuff on your Buy Nothing group, or like wanting to take it to Goodwill, to your local recycling center, etc., there is a point where you kind of have to hold on to it a bit longer than you want to, which can be kind of annoying, but I think it's way more worth it to like take that time to hold on to it, care for the environment in that sense, so that like, because in the long run, it's going to be better for the planet. And what's like a couple more days? Yeah. And then, what other suggestions I have? Ooh, here's a really easy suggestion. If you are, and my college campus does this, which I think is like the best idea on the planet, is that for students, what they have available for them sometimes if they need it in our library is like whiteboards. So when like I've seen mostly math students and science students use it, but if they like got a problem they need to like work on, or they're doing an assignment, they'll like write it all on the whiteboard instead of putting it in their notebook and that type of thing. And that is a great way to kind of like reduce the use of a paper and that, because you can reuse a whiteboard again and again and kind of get so many different uses out of it. I have one right here. I'm using it right now. It has all my ideas on it, and I kind of use it for every stream to kind of write down the things I want to talk about. I know I also use it during the week with my husband to kind of like either write notes for him, write down to-do lists that we both need to work on, or like stuff we need to clean. I've also been using it as a way to meal plan and like that type of thing. So I think a tiny little whiteboard is very helpful in like just reducing things in small ways, using less paper, and that type of thing. Speaking of food and making meal plans on whiteboards, another thing is like containers and Tupperware. So, one thing for me that I am trying to do when I am shopping is that when I am looking at the containers that I can get from the store, or like looking to buy something, I want to start looking for like containers that I could now use. So when we buy ham, I prefer to buy the ham that comes in the little Tupperware container than in like the bag, because then I can use that Tupperware container as my own. Like later I can just wash it out, reuse it again and again. Or if you're buying sauces, find the ones in the more glass jars because they will last longer than using the ones in the plastic jars and that type of thing. Or if you go to a restaurant, and I haven't seen a lot of restaurants do this, but there's like one that I've been to that does it. But their Tupperware is very sturdy when you like get this when you get the container for your leftovers. Some restaurants give out styrofoam, but there's this one, it's a ramen shop, and it gives out these really great soup containers. So I have saved those because they're great for storing soup, for when I make a bunch and that type of thing, great for leftovers, or like if I need to take a lot of snacks at somewhere, it's a great storage container. Just overall. And then, so that's kind of like one way you can think about Tupperware is like, can I save this for a future use when you like go to buy certain products? Is like the container it's coming in, is there an option to get a more reusable container instead? But the other side of Tupperware and containers, this side, I'm like, I'll do it if I remember and like every once in a while. I'm not the best at it, but I'm slowly trying it. Where if you go out to a restaurant, instead of asking for like um, the leftovers container, or like say you didn't finish everything and you're like, now I have leftovers, instead of like getting their styrofoam stuff to like put your leftover food in, bring your own Tupperware, like think about it in advance to then put in, so that you're not like using up their products, you're not getting their styrofoam stuff or plastic stuff. You have your own Tupperware that you can reuse instead. I really liked that idea when I saw it. I thought it was cool, but I'm also like, it is a really cool one, but I'm also like a little nervous to do it because I'm really awkward, and it feels like weirdly, I don't know, my anxious brain is like, that's weird to do, but it's a thing to do, so I'm trying to do it more. I've also tried with, as farmers market season is coming upon us, I have made sure that when I go to the farmers market, I have containers or bags or stuff already with me to put my fruit in. So, because I know some places at farmers market, either they don't have it or like they just have basic plastics and stuff that they've reused. So I try to bring my own container. So if I'm going to the farmers market for eggs, I am bringing the egg container that I already own. Or like if I bought eggs from the store last time, but now I wanted to buy eggs from the farmers market, I'll keep that container to put the eggs in that I get from the farmers market. There was a time where we went and got raspberries and blueberries, so I brought some Tupperware with me so that when I bought them, I could just dump it in there. And then the people at the farmers market also really like this idea because they are then able to reuse the containers, because they themselves, like, they don't always have the most containers, or maybe it's hard to buy some and that type of thing. So if you bring your own containers to like dump your fruit in, they can then save it and reuse it themselves. I know my little brother, he has chickens that he raises, and he is top tier at it. Props to him. But he like saves all his egg cartons. Either his friends or his people in his neighborhood bring it to him, and then like he just can like keep them and use them, so that when he sells eggs, he has cartons for them. Or he does offer a deal that if you have your own carton, you get your eggs for less from him. And so like that's a really great idea as well, to like just having your own containers that you can use and bring places is very helpful, especially if you're like a drink person. So if you are the type of person that needs your drink from Starbucks every morning, or you're a dad who has to go to the gas station every morning and get your 64-ounce drink, you do you, but like whatever drink you need. Everybody has, this is the era of fun drinks, I would say. We got all the Starbucks drinks. I'm drinking water though. At least right now. I dropped a bit of water on my page. This is not good. Anyway. But like, if you can look at your drink place and be like, okay, I will buy my own cup that I can reuse whenever I come back, because you know you go there a lot. Or if you can somehow like plan in advance, like I know some place, like I work at a soda shop, and they let people bring in their Stanley cups, and we know the size and that type of thing, and we'll refill it for you, and you kind of get like a discount with that. So kind of know the drinks that like see if the places you know of will let you do that, or like bring refills and do that instead of just like just buying all the time new cups and using it up that way. So that's a good way you can like save money. Well, no, not save money, but like be eco-friendly. That's what I was looking for. And like also having like a water bottle that like you reuse a lot when you go out is a very easy way you can be a bit more eco-conscious. And if you're like, oh, but I like good filtered water and that type of thing, it's also good to like buy a filter for your house. Because I've seen a couple houses where they just have a lot of like excess plastic water bottles and they use those to drink from, and that's great and all, but that's like their main source of water, or like their drinking water. They'll still use the tap for like cooking stuff and that type of thing, but their drinking water comes from just those plastic ones. And that is not that great for the environment. So like finding ways that you can minimize that, get that Brita filter if you need it, because I think it is a great way to kind of like minimalize all that. And that type of thing. Okay, that's good there. Um, another do some twisting here. Another idea you could do, that I do, is I got this from Caitlin's Corner. She's on Instagram and YouTube. She's really cute. She's kind of like just a chill vlogger and stuff. And one thing I like that she kind of brought up is that I like to do a lot of baking. I know some other people like to do a lot of baking. But one thing that comes with a lot of baking is that now you have a lot to eat afterwards. And if you're like, yes, I love baked goods, and so is like anybody else in your household, great. But if like you and your spouse cannot eat all the baked goods that have been cooked, you're kind of at a dilemma. So, one of the things she brought up that I really like is that like I'll make a bunch of cookies that I want to eat, but I like just can't eat like 36 cookies. Me and my husband just can't eat all of those by ourselves. So, what she has taught me that I love is that like just make the cookie dough balls and freeze them, and then whenever you want some cookies, you can just make a couple of them. And I love that idea, because then I can make a huge batch of snickerdoodle cookies, like cookie dough, and save it for whenever I want snickerdoodles in the future. I've also found like there's a lot of baked goods you can just like freeze to save for later. So if you make cake, you can freeze and save it for later. I've seen, this was like the wildest thing wedding tradition that I've come across. It's not something I would do, but y'all go for it if you want it or if it sounds interesting. But what the couple did was they froze their wedding cake, and then on their first anniversary together, they could have some. And I was like, that is crazy. But it's a thing you can do because, like, freezing stuff is, like, the best way to preserve it. So you can freeze a lot of baked goods to save it if you, like, want to keep those baked goods, like, for you and your family, but, like, don't necessarily want to, like, have it go to waste because you didn't finish it. Which I like. You can also do that with pancakes and waffles. If you are in an ingredient household and you don't like buying like the box pancake or whatever mix, you can still like bake a bunch or cook a bunch of pancakes or waffles and then freeze them, and then you got like your own Eggos that you can just pop in the toaster and eat whenever. So I really like that idea as well. But you know, finding what you can freeze so you can save it for later. If you are someone that either cooks or bakes like way too many servings than what you can eat, but you don't want to freeze it, or it doesn't seem like you're not a leftovers person, invite people over for dinner. Make friends. Bring it to neighbors. See who you can help and that type of thing. I know where I go to church, we have the opportunity to, what's the word? My brain isn't working. We have the opportunity when at my church, they keep track of who's kind of pregnant in the ward or who's going through a tough time, and then in our ward, in like, okay, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We call our like, we are separated into wards, like, which is like where we go to church in the area that we live. Within those wards, we have a class. We have like sermon time for like the first hour where like everybody's together, and then the second hour you kind of split off by age group and like that type of thing to do personal lessons. Within that, every once in a while they will split by gender as well. So the men will go to their own meeting, and the women will go to a separate meeting. The meetings teach like exactly the same thing. It's just like another lesson. And the women's one is called Relief Society, and then we got Preschool. They teach like the exact same thing. Just making that clear. And then, but in Relief Society, every once in a while, what they will do is they will pass around this like list of like, okay, these people are having babies in the ward. This is the week, 2 weeks, or a couple weeks surrounding this, or these is a couple weeks surrounding, like when my mom's husband died. They did this in her ward where they just kind of passed around like this is someone in need. So the best way we can help is you just make food for them and you bring it to them that night. Or like that's not the best way, but it's a go-to way that we have to just kind of support people. Is like, you got a lot going on, so don't worry about making dinner. And so I do that sometimes because I like to bake a lot and I make a lot of extra food. So if I'm going to make something or try something new and it's like 6 servings, but it's just me and my husband, I'm going to take that like half of that and bring it to somebody else, or I'm going to have people over to also eat the other half. And that's a great way to just kind of like removes food waste in your home. I am really dehydrated. Sorry about that. But yeah, just kind of looking for ways you can like bring food to people or have them over, so that if you are someone who like likes cooking and baking a lot, give it to people in your community. Give back in that sense. What else is there? I had something to say along with that. Oh, or if you're like, I like baking a lot, and then you also have the leftovers, I send them to my husband's work. I bring them to my work sometimes. You know, everybody likes going into work and finding out that someone brought extra baked goods in. It's the best. My sister-in-law, she is gluten intolerant, or she has celiac disease, so she can't have gluten. And so, but she still loves baking, so she'll bake a lot of things, and then she'll give them to her husband to just bring to his work and share with people. So that is a great way to like kind of lower food waste in your home and give back to the community. most of like the best way to be eco-friendly is to like be mindful of like kind of be mindful of yourself, but also be like mindful of others and ways you can give to other people with the stuff that you no longer need. Of course, there are plenty of other options where you can like sell stuff as well and that type of thing. But you can, there's also like great ways where you can just help the community and be nice. And I encourage that. Be nice. Help your community. Yeah. Yeah. I also encourage reusable bags, okay? Here's like my go-to thing with bags and containers. Like we've already talked about Tupperware. We're done with Tupperware. But like, okay, you go to the grocery store and you're like, yeah, we're just gonna do circles. Okay. You go to the grocery store and you get all your groceries and you come home and you have a plethora of bags. What do you do? One, here's a couple things you can do. They're great for if you have tiny trash cans that you use like either in your bedroom, your bathroom, wherever. Those are great like trash bags for it. Very easy, great way to reuse those and give them a bit of a second life. I also use them like if I need to carry stuff somewhere, but I like, for example, if I'm using my Buy Nothing group, I will bring it in probably one of those bags so they can like carry it somewhere if they need to, and I can carry it and I don't have to like just carry like the miscellaneous items that they're taking. They can like, there's a bag for it. For example, on my Buy Nothing group, I gave away a bunch of old makeup products and beauty products and shampoos and lotions and stuff that I just wasn't going to use and I wouldn't use before they like got expired and gross. So I put that on my Buy Nothing group and people took it, and so I put it in a bag that I got from Walmart. Like, and it was great. That's like a couple ways you can reuse it. There's also it's a great way to like, if you're bringing meals to someone, you can put the meal in the bag as well. I also save, if I get paper bags from somewhere, those are really sturdy, so I save those. And then if I'm bringing stuff to Goodwill, I can put them in there and give them a second use. The best way to kind of like, if you want to be eco-friendly, give things that you own more than one use, more than one purpose, and that type of thing. And then what I have invested in with my husband is we got ours at Disney, but you can get them at almost any store, but they have reusable bags there. And I know that Target, if you bring reusable bags, they will like give you a discount depending on how many you bring. I've seen it like on TikTok and stuff where they talk about it. But bringing reusable bags is very helpful because my husband and I have really big ones from Disney, so they're like the medium and large ones, so they can hold a lot. So when we go grocery shopping, we bring our 2 big reusable bags in, and those are the only bags we need when we come out. We don't have, rarely do, every once in a while we have a couple like excess plastic ones that we have to get because we just didn't have enough room. But most of the time, when we're leaving that Walmart, it's great because we just have like, we have all these like, we just have 2 bags to take with us, which means it's way easier to bring them up the stairs to our apartment, or like bring them in the house, wherever you may be in life or whatever your situation is. But you know, it just makes it easier to bring in groceries and that type of thing. I've also seen people where they'll just have big laundry baskets or bins instead, and then they bring their shopping cart to the car, load up the bins, and then they can just carry the bins inside with all their groceries. And so I really like that idea. I think it's fun and like it makes it easier. It has really helped us a lot and has reduced the amount of bags that we get from Walmart, which I like as well. It's also good if you're going to the thrift store, if you're going to the library, if you're going to like a farmer's market and stuff, having your own bag is very helpful. So like I have big reusable bags as well. One of my favorite things that I have done is there's this t-shirt that I absolutely adore, but it was got a couple holes in it along the bottom that like I couldn't really wear it and it was becoming frayed. And I was very upset about that. But I'm like, I still want this. I still want to use it. And so I made that shirt into a reusable bag that's like kind of nice and stretchy. And I take it with me to the library so that when I get books, like I have a cute little soft bag for them. It's my favorite tote bag. I love it so much. And it's made out of my favorite shirt that just I can't wear anymore. So that's another great like thing you can do. There's really easy, like it's really easy to take a shirt and like turn it into a bag. You can probably just look it up. But a quick explanation is that you kind of like turn it into a tank top essentially with like a low cut in the front. And then yeah, a tank top low cut. And then you kind of like clip a little, like an inch or two of the bottom into strips, and you tie those strips together and it kind of seals the bottom of it, and that's kind of how you turn it into a bag. But there's like really easy tutorials online. It's kind of like a tie end blanket, but like you're doing it with a shirt to turn it into a bag. So there's that idea for you if you need it or you want it, you know. I like that idea a lot. I will probably do it with more of my shirts in the future. And that's a great way to give a shirt a second purpose if like you don't just want to send it to Goodwill because it meant something to you. I've also seen people take either their favorite shirts or fabrics from their favorite clothes that they just can't wear anymore and turning it into a blanket or a keepsake for their house. So like they just have this blanket with all their favorite shirts. When my mom's husband passed away, second husband passed away, I suggested to her that she should turn his shirts into a blanket so she always has like a piece of him with her and she can keep those clothes without them taking up closet space and that type of thing. I'm out of breath, but we're fine. Also, if you guys have any eco-friendly ideas, feel free to pop them in the chat. I would love to hear them. I still have more to go over, but if you're like, I want to talk about this too, or you got ideas, pop it in the chat. Or if you're watching this on YouTube later, pop it in the comments down below. Okay. Next, flour. I have no idea what to do for this one. I'm gonna try this stuff. Okay. Okay. Oh, thank you, Throw Ace. I'm sorry if I can't read that as well, but thank you for the follow. I really appreciate it. Okay, we'll wrap it up with the home eco-friendly ideas, and then we'll move on to stationery, I promise. Okay. So, a couple more home eco-friendly ideas. One, look for brands and companies that have like eco-friendly replacements. So if you're like, oh, I want to be a little bit better, maybe you can like find toilet paper or something, just like a nice replacement for it to kind of give it, to kind of just be a little bit more eco-friendly in your home. So kind of look for those ways that you can look online, do some research, kind of find those replacements you can do in your home. I know one replacement that I've seen is people buying paper towels that they can reuse, which, you know, it's just kind of just washcloths, like replacing paper towel use with washcloth use if possible. But I've also seen people where they just kind of buy bamboo-based products instead and that type of thing, or metal ones, like there's the whole straw, like having your own straw instead of using the plastic ones at restaurants. Just kind of do some research for those other replacements if you are looking for more. And then another thing is like whenever try to go digital if possible with certain things in advance. Here we're going to actually flip sides. I've seen some people kind of look for digital versions of books instead of physical ones. Streaming services are a great way to kind of like be a bit more digital when it comes to buying movies and TV shows, but you do kind of still need to be careful with that one because you gotta buy the right streaming service and that type of thing. And then finding resources in your neighborhood to like kind of do things more for free. Like I like using libraries so that I can like read a book before I buy it so that I can like see if I actually want it. So I don't have to like waste the money of having to buy it and like waste the paper to make it and waste the energy to get it to me. And then this idea, I like it for its like, yeah, these colors. Yeah, I like this one idea kind of for, it's a great way to kind of declutter yourself and become a bit more eco-friendly is taking time to do a minimalist challenge. You don't have to like do it 100%. There's the one where it's like you get rid of an item in your home, like 1 item on day 1, 2 items on day 2, 3 items on day 3, and so on and so forth. That's a fun challenge, but it also can seem a little overwhelming. So like if your goal is just to get rid of an item every day for a month, I did that in the past. I found it as a great way to declutter, but also see what I value in my home now. What kind of decorations I want, what items I don't use and don't need, and that type of thing. So that when I'm in the future buying stuff, I know what to get and what not to get. So, that's it for home eco-friendly ideas. If you have any ideas, feel free to pop them in the chat. I would love to hear them. But we are going to shift to stationary eco-friendly ideas or like bullet journaling and art stuff. Because if you are, there's a lot of art stuff that's like, it's hard to be eco-friendly when you like stationery, which involves a lot of paper products, a lot of plastics, and harsh chemicals to create markers and stuff. Not like super harsh, but like alcoholic markers and stuff. There's a lot that goes into making these, and these probably aren't the best for the environment. So let's chat about ways you can be a bit more eco-friendly while also having a very artistic side and that type of thing. One of the great things I think about having the artistic side and viewpoint is that you do have the opportunity to kind of see how things could be used and kind of train yourself into doing that more. So kind of like, if I've seen some artists like where they kind of look at trash and then they figure out how to use it to give it a second purpose, turn it into a piece of art. So finding ways to do that, very easy, very simple. Like the best way, if you're a creative person, to get started on that, try a new medium of like something that you find in your trash can or something that you don't use in your home anymore and that type of thing. But specifically on the bullet journal side of things, I need to figure out what flower I want to make. Whatever, we'll get there. Whatever. Okay. Okay. Let's do some better ideas now. Anyway, my first thought in kind of becoming eco-friendly with a hobby such as bullet journaling or planning in any way is to make sure that you use your notebooks to the fullest. And I mean really to the fullest. Okay? I've seen a couple bullet journalers that do this, and it bothers me a lot, where they're like, okay, they like plan that they will use this journal from January to June, and then once it hits July, they're done with this notebook and they'll have a new one. And I get that, like, sometimes you get to the end of a notebook and you have more room than expected, or just not enough pages to do another month. You want it to be an even time period for that journal use, and that makes perfect sense. Like, that's fine. What kind of gets me is when they're like, they don't have a use for those excess pages and they're just kind of done with that notebook. I feel like there's plenty of things you could do with those excess pages. For example, you could cut out the pages and use them as tip-ins for future journals, or like kind of add them as Dutch doors later. Also, those Dutch door stuff, like when you make a Dutch door, cut the page in half, use this other half. Please, I beg of you. Like, kind of using those scraps. You can make bookmarks out of that type of stuff. Use it later in your journal. You could also turn it into its own, like, spread. Where, like, if you want to show off, like, your favorite way to set up a weekly, you have a couple pages at this end of this one journal. Instead of having, like, you can have, like, the journal that has all your ideas. I know Jashi Corinne, she has a journal dedicated where, like, if she does an ideas video for, like, best travel spreads, she has a notebook dedicated to that. And that's great, but if you don't do that as much as, like, Jashi Corinne, where she can dedicate a whole notebook to it, you can still use those pages for, like, smaller spreads and stuff. A prime example that I have is I had a Dutch door that I cut out, and I turned it into a little tracker for how many tips I get at this one job. I don't, like, rely heavily on tips, but, like, I was like, this is a cute way to track it. and give it a second purpose in life. And like, what will it, once that page is complete and it's full, I'm going to put it with my journal so that I can like save it as a memory for that time period. But I think making sure to use those scraps is like a great way to kind of give those scraps a second life. That's my point. Give those scraps a second life. Use those excess pages so they are not just there. Then also, so not only use your notebooks to the fullest, use your sticky notes to the fullest, use any materials you have to the fullest. Use your pens until they die, not until they're close to death. Use them until you can't use them anymore. Use all your stickers on the page. Don't just like, oh, I get Happy Planner stickers. I do not own a dog. Some Happy Planner stickers have a little thing you can stick in that reminds you to walk your dog or whatever. Am I saving those stickers until I use them? Yes. What I could also do, because I don't have a dog, is that I could send the stickers or give them to my friend who has a dog so she can use them in her planner instead. To kind of give them that second life. We need yellow. We haven't used yellow enough. But yeah. Save those stickers until they have a use. Maybe you'll have a use for them in the future. Or give them to a friend who could use them instead. Save those washi tapes as well. If you're like, I probably won't use this washi tape because I think it looks disgusting and gross, there's a couple things you can do. One, you can convert this washi tape into like a specialty projects one. For example, I have this one right here. It's in this little guy. And then like if I need to create like a very straight line or kind of use the washi tape to kind of cover something while I color somewhere else on a page, that is a great way to kind of like give it a use and then you can get rid of it or something. But use things to their fullest. Another thing you can do is buy, like I've said before, buy with intention. Buy stationery that you'll use and have a purpose for. Not just because it'll look cute, but like, will you use it in a spread and that type of thing. Oh my gosh, where was I going with this? Buy stationery you'll use with a purpose. Oh, yes. And then like try to buy stationery that will last longer term. So, it's great and all to buy like cheap products. Sometimes it's what you need to do, and I get that. But sometimes it's okay to buy the more expensive markers because you know they will last longer. Or buying the paint, like buy paint in bulk or buy this in bulk because then it'll last longer and you don't need to you won't use it up as quickly. You can also buy, this one I highly recommend, is if you're I like stickers, but sometimes they are very wasteful and that type of thing. You can also buy stamps instead, because they're reusable stickers or washi tape or whatever, and you can turn them into that if you really wanted, and that type of thing. Yeah, that's how that flower's gonna look. Okay, we have one more flower. It will use all the colors. You just have different petals. Anyway, it'll have all the petals. But yeah. Use stamps. There are plenty of inspiration videos online of how you can use them to kind of create different designs. You can kind of create a washi tape style along your page as well, and they're kind of like stickers you can use again and again. But yeah, buy stamps. They're great. You can also buy your stationery in bulk. And specifically, ooh, that was supposed to be purple. Anyway, specifically, I mean if you buy your stationery in bulk. So if you're I want to get this set of markers and I want to get these stickers and stuff, buy it in bulk with a bunch of other stationery, because what it does is it kind of reduces your carbon footprint. So when you're kind of ordering, when you're getting more stationery shipped to you again and again, all from the same shop or from multiple shops, it's using up a lot of energy, and it's kind of creating this huge carbon footprint in our society. So buy stationery in bulk. Even if it so go to Stationery Pal. They have a big variety of stationery, so you can buy in bulk, you can buy a lot, you can buy a variety, and not have to spend as much on kind of buying from all the different shops and that type of thing. It's still good to buy from all the different shops and small businesses. I encourage you to do it, but this is a way you can kind of be a bit more eco-friendly with that. Also, Nancy Strawberry, thank you so much for following me. I really appreciate it. And then, or what you can do is stationery, is you can buy it in person. So go to your local stationery shops, go to your farmer's market and find your stationery small businesses that live in your town and buy from them. It's pretty great. It's top tier. Give me 1 second. I need to check something. Sorry about that, guys. I heard someone at my door and I was a little spooked for a second. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Go to your local stationery shops. Just kind of try to reduce your carbon footprint with getting your stationery if you can. Another thing that I specifically do with stationery items that I receive is if I get Christmas cards and stuff, depending on how you get them, I need this color. Anyway, depending on how you get them, I like receiving Christmas cards. It's really fun. It's really exciting. And depending on how they are written on the card, there is the possibility that with your card you can, what I've done is like you get the card, it usually opens up, and they usually have the message on this side. And what I've adopted to doing is I will cut the card in half down the middle where the fold is, and then I can keep the message in my scrapbook as if I want to and that type of thing. But then I just have a one-sided card with still the cute design on it, like the Christmas design, if like say they bought it from like the store. And then I can reuse that and give it to somebody else. And it's not like I'm ignoring the fact that someone bought me a card. I am keeping the message. I'm keeping the most important part of the card and that type of thing. But I am reusing the part that I probably don't need. You could also try to buy cards that are only one-sided, because then it's just like a little bit less paper that goes into making it. And that type of thing. With cards as well, if you can give it to them in person, that's a way better than like shipping stuff to people. Reduces that carbon footprint and that type of thing. Another thing you could do to kind of like be a bit more eco-conscious when it comes to all that. I almost lost a pen there. Anyway. Yeah. To be a bit more eco-conscious is you totally could... Oh my gosh, where was I going with this? Oh! When you buy pens... Now, markers don't usually do this, but some of them... I don't think I've come across a marker that does this, but I've come across pens that do this, where you can buy just the refill for the pen instead of the plastic casing it comes in. So I really like that idea. I have a gel pen that I have bought. It is by Basic Fluorescent. It's Colorelli. It will be linked in the description when I post this on YouTube. But it has a nice gel pen tip. I have a lot of excess gel pen ink cartridges in a bunch of different colors, and I have those like saved, just the cartridges, not the like casing around this, just where the ink is, so that once this pen runs out I can put a new one in. I can switch it out for a color that I want to use, so I'm reducing the amount of plastic produced to create the whole pen and just having the items that I need, like the main ink items. I've also seen people, Men Who Bullet, he does a lot with fountain pens. That is another good way to kind of like reduce a little bit, because you're just buying the ink and you have the same pen casing. Of course, there's like, he also like collects stuff, and like there's nothing wrong with like wanting to collect all the different pens and pen casings, but that's kind of like a great way to stay a bit more eco-friendly with your stationery. It's just like just buying the ink and adding it to the casing you already own. Like I said before, with the notebooks and having excess pages or things you've cut out, save all your paper scraps. Any scraps you can. Even save your washi scraps if you have it. And find a purpose for it to kind of give it a permanent home. I will figure out what I want to do here in a sec. But, you know, save your washi scraps. So, like, save your paper scraps, whatever, and find a use for it at some point, so that you're not just like wasting all of it and that type of thing. I think that's a great way to kind of like give it a second life. I do a little bit, if you've watched my channel for a while now, I have done a little bit of like collage style stuff, which does involve tearing out sheets of paper, and there's always the tiny little bit of scraps that I have left over. Have I tossed those? No, I have not. Why? Because I'm going to save them for when I have a use for them. And I think that's like a great way to like, because one day I will need that very tiny little corner that I had that's like this big, like little baby guy, because who knows, I could use it at some point. It may be like the last little bit of paper that I need if I'm running out. Same goes for my washi scraps. If I can find a place for it in the spread, it's going in the spread. So save all those little things, give it a purpose. Don't just like toss away your excess scraps if you can. Am I perfect at this? No. You can probably watch some of my old streams and find moments where I toss scraps. And I'm sorry, but you know, I will try to be better in the future. I usually toss washi scraps, but I will try not to. I'm not perfect, but we're trying to improve. We're trying to be better. We're trying to help the environment and on our Earth Day. And in general. Not just because it's Earth Day. Anyway, continuing on. Another thing you can do is if you have stationery that just doesn't fit your vibe, gift it to your friends. Like, I know there's some people who have, I have like one friend that's like really into like bullet journaling with me, so like I will gift her some stuff. I have another friend who does like pens, so maybe I'll gift her some pens I don't want to use, that type of thing. But I've also seen groups, like stationery groups, that will that like it, like people will say, oh, I have a lot of excess washi tape. I would love to do a meetup in the town that we all happen to live in and that type of thing, and you can give it that way. Kind of like the Buy Nothing group I mentioned earlier. Just find places to like give away stationery that you won't use. That includes notebooks and that type of thing. A great way to do that is to talk to your local school, especially like the art teachers there or any teachers that you know of, and ask them, hey, do you need like this for your classroom? The other day I was going through my stationery and I had a fudge ton of crayons. Do I use those crayons? No. I like markers, so I was like, I should just get rid of these. And so I posted them on my Buy Nothing group. If nobody wanted them there, I probably would have gone to like my local elementary school and saying, I have a bunch of crayons I don't use. Do any of your teachers need this supplies? Because teachers are always in the need of art supplies and supplies for their classroom. And what do we have as bullet journalers? An excess of supplies. So that's a good way to get rid of it and like give back to your community as well. And that type of thing. I also, this is just like a wild idea, and I haven't like, I've done a version of this, but essentially, if you're like, I have a lot of markers or washi tape or stickers that I don't really know how to use, or these paper scraps, and you're like, I don't know how to use these in a monthly theme, or I don't have enough for 1 month, create a everything theme. And essentially what this means is you kind of use like black, white, and gray as like your base, but then like use everything, all whatever washi tape or stickers you're in the mood for. Make each spread and weekly have a different theme, whatever, or like have the spread kind of have like a weird bee theme just in the title, but then it's like polka dots at the bottom, you know, whatever. But create like do an everything theme and use whatever supplies that you have that you just don't know what to use for. And then like you can kind of play around with it, use those scraps of paper, etc. I did 2 themes like this in the past. One was, I know for a fact it was January. I just had black and white as like, I just use a black pen for everything else in the spread, but I kind of made it as a thing where I could use any stickers I had, no matter the theme they had. So I just called it like my sticker theme. And so I would just like pull out whatever stickers I wanted to and that type of thing, and used it on the spread if I could, so I could use up more of them. I have also done a theme where I pick out a washi tape, and then depending on the washi tape, I like pick out like 5 sticker sheets that could go with it, and like pens and markers, and then I do like a spread for it. So I did my whole monthly like that. So my calendar had one washi tape, and then each weekly had its own, and then my budget page had its own washi tape, etc. And so that's how I did that whole theme. And it was a lot of fun because then I got to experiment with different theme ideas and using different color palettes while also using up the supplies I don't typically use. Okay. My throat is getting tired from talking, but I am not done. But yeah, do an everything theme. My final kind of like idea that I have, and once again, if you have some ideas, feel free to pop them in the chat. I would love to hear them. Okay, wait, no, I have 2 more ideas. 1, go digital if you want. Like, I probably will never go digital because I like this version of creating and that type of thing. But if you are like, I'm into digital, I want to like get an iPad and like figure out how to draw on it or create a bullet journal spread, go digital. That's going to save a lot of paper and products and stuff. And you can still like kind of do a bit on the like physical stuff, but it's like a great way to just be a bit more eco-friendly. Now for my final idea. This idea is kind of like home / stationary artsy, and that is like create for your home dates. That's what I'm going to call this idea. That's got a lot of things to it. So, if you have a significant other or you have friends you want to hang out with and do something fun with, this is how this goes. Go find a place where you can like paint pottery together and go there and do it. But when you go there, pick an item that you are creating for your home that you will use. So, for example, I have this guy. This is a little pot that I painted for my birthday with my husband. We went on a date. He painted a little frog. But I painted this pot. It's filled with chocolate right now. But so we went on this fun date. We got to be creative, have fun, use supplies. It wasn't our supplies. It was supplies they provided. So I wasn't buying excess and wasting it. But it was supplies they gave to us. And then I got to be creative and create something. But it also has a use for my home. And it's really cute as well. It's got all my shrooms on it. And I love my little shroom guys. Okay? This is cute. I love it. My husband created a frog, which is now part of our like home decor at all times, and I love our little frog. And that type of thing. But go on dates to like find places where you can do stuff for the home, create for the home. So, as I mentioned earlier, a great way to create a reusable bag is turning a t-shirt into one like a tote bag that you can use. So that's something you could do with friends or on a date or something. I also really like the idea of making blankets. Tie-in blankets are super easy. There's not a lot of waste in fabric and supplies when you buy it, and it's a great addition to your home, and it's like kind of this create for your home place. You're taking something, you're giving it a purpose in your home, and you're being a bit more eco-friendly with it. And it's a great way to connect a bit with people. Wrong side. But yeah. You can also like do dates where you are hangouts with your friend where you are creating together. This past Wednesday, I got together with my sister-in-law who wanted to get into bullet journaling. And so I bought her some bee stickers in advance. And when I bought these bee stickers, I bought them in bulk so that like I could give some to her. I have some for me. I bought a lot from this person. It's Swirly Next. I did a haul last weekend with her stuff, the stickers I got. So I bought in bulk so that I would have stickers to give to her and she could use. But then when she came over, I was like, hey, use my supplies. Take what you need, borrow what you want, whatever. Use my stickers, use my markers, whatever. That's a great way to kind of like be a bit more eco-friendly. Sharing with others, giving things another purpose, giving them a new way to kind of be used. But yeah, happy Earth Day, guys. I hope you like these ideas, and I hope you'll be able to use them in the future and kind of come up with a way to just kind of be a bit nicer to the planet. The main points I would say from today, if you're I want to be eco-friendly, but you're a little unsure, one, you don't have to do everything right away. Do what you're capable of, do what's easy, do the small changes first, because they still matter. Try to be more resourceful with what you're buying and taking in. Try to save things or give them away. Give them to your community if possible. Share with them and that type of thing. And also make sure to just kind of find ways to just reuse it. Use your creativity. Give it a second purpose. And that type of thing. And, with today, we're going to cut this stream short. We're going to stop it here. I'm not doing a journaling prompt today because I'm a little tired. My voice is a little tired as well. So I hope you guys had a great stream with me. I know I did. I had so much fun talking about all these ideas to kind of be a bit more eco-friendly, and I hope you guys can use them in your life and figure out how to use them and kind of help the planet a bit more. I encourage you to, if possible. I know I'm not perfect, but I'm trying in the ways that I can. This notebook right here, here on the back, I always write on my notebooks what class I used it for. It looks like I've used it for at least 2 classes by now. I've used it for 2 classes. I still had pages left over. And so now I am using it for some art. And we created this absolutely adorable Earth Day spread with these flowers that I made. I really like this. Okay, I hope you guys had a great stream. Be more eco-friendly. Next Saturday, 2 p.m. we'll have stream as usual, and we'll be making a recipe spread. So be prepared for that. And if you want more daily bullet journaling content, check out my Instagram. And if you want to see any of my previous streams, check out my YouTube. Both are linked in the description or my bio here on Twitch. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye!